WWE superstar Chris Benoit, his wife Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're recounting the real-life tragedies, scandals, and dark events involving TV shows, TV productions, or television personalities in the first 26 years of the 2000s. We won't be including live televised tragedies, since they're worth their own list.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May.
2000. Jerry Springer's guest murdered. Nothing was too wild or chaotic for Jerry Springer's show, but what happens when tense daytime television results in murder?
Okay, here she is. Nan.
In 2000, Springer filmed a special episode called Secret Mistresses Confronted, where couples caught being unfaithful can duke it out for our entertainment. One particular segment featured a heated argument between Ralph Panitz, his wife Eleanor Panitz, and ex-wife Nancy Campbell Panitz.
Nan, what's going on?
Ralph and I are trying to restore our marriage, and this trailer trash won't leave us alone.
Hours after the broadcast, Nancy was found dead. Coincidentally, Ralph was trying to flee to Canada after being wanted for murder, but he couldn't escape and was sentenced to life in prison. While Springer can't be blamed for Panitz's actions, there's a fine line between entertainment and playing with fire.
Jerry Springer, he just kind of blew it off like, what do I know about it? How disrespectful can you be? It's just awful.
2001, Xuxa Park Fire. During the 1990s, Brazilian pop star Xuxa hosted her children's program appropriately titled Xuxa Park. It ran for 8 years, but its time on the airwaves came to a screeching halt when a fire broke out on stage. The fire spread out of control, and the horrifying incident was caught on camera. Miraculously, there were no casualties, but many audience members were seriously injured, and Xuxa was traumatized by the ordeal. The network was kind enough to fund the victim's recovery, but the set was completely destroyed, and the show was canceled. After seeing the horrors captured on film, are we that surprised? 2002, Michael Jackson's balcony incident. Despite his crown as the king of pop, Michael Jackson had garnered some controversy due to several allegations about his eccentric personality. There was also the mystery of the mother of his youngest son, Blanket Jackson. In 2002, one particular incident stirred the pot even more, as Jackson was seen dangling his infant child over his hotel balcony. Thankfully, Blanket was unharmed and eventually changed his name to Biggie Jackson. While Michael insisted that he never meant any harm and only wanted to show his son to the fans, it was a shocking sight at the time and has remained in the memories of former fans long after the King of Pop's tragic passing in 2009. 2003, John Ritter's passing. Throughout his life, John Ritter delighted viewers and co-stars with his brand of comedy. One of his most recent roles was Paul Hennessy, the overprotective father on the sitcom 8 Simple Rules.
I just wanted to give Bridget a kiss goodbye.
I know.
However, in late 2003, during rehearsal, Ritter was suddenly rushed to the hospital and treated for a supposed heart attack. It turned out to be an aortic dissection, and Ritter passed away during surgery.
It's not yet known what led to Ritter's condition, but common causes are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and blunt trauma, like a car accident.
Months later, Season 2 of 8 Simple Rules aired a two-parter in which Ritter's character died off screen, and the emotions on display hit even harder, knowing what had brought on this sudden change to the series.
You know, he would say anything. He didn't care how silly he was. Just wanted to make us laugh. I'm really gonna miss that.
2004, Extreme Makeover lawsuit. Extreme Makeover was a reality show that boasted that it could turn any ordinary person beautiful. They couldn't accommodate everyone, but one particular rejection ended in tragedy.
Turn around, look in the mirror.
Oh my God.
In 2004, a Texas woman named Delise Williams was slated to appear on the show. Producers arrived at her hometown and goaded family members into saying awful things about Williams' physical appearance. Her family was interviewed and were instructed to make very harsh comments about Delise's appearance. Delise's sister, Kelly, was devastated over the mean comments she made and took her own life out of grief. The family sued the show afterwards, and the matter was settled out of court. The show was canceled 3 years later. This little stunt likely contributed to its eventual downfall. 2005, Bill Cosby revelations. Once upon a time, you could hear the name Bill Cosby and not wince in discomfort.
Haven't you ever noticed after people have some of my barbecue sauce, after a while when it kicks in, they get all huggy-buggy? Oh, stop. I'm dead serious.
For the longest time, he had gained the reputation of America's dad with his style of comedy. However, in 2005, said reputation took a sour turn when a criminal investigation was launched against him. Several women came forward saying that Mr. Cosby had sexually violated them for decades, using substances to knock them unconscious.
I've never seen anything like this.
A particularly heinous violation the year before was the last straw, and Cosby's crimes were now out in the open for all to see before he was finally arrested in 2018. Anything with Cosby's name attached to it was sullied thanks to his despicable actions.
Mr. Cosby, how does it feel to be home?
Cosby did not say a word.
2006, Steve Irwin's passing. Since the 1990s, television personality and animal conservationist Steve Irwin delighted and educated us as the crocodile hunter.
G'day, I'm Steve Irwin, and I'm taking you into the heart of dragon territory.
His dedication to protecting and teaching others about animals was nothing short of inspirational. Tragically, his era came to a sudden end in 2006 while filming at the Great Barrier Reef. He was filming a stingray when its barb suddenly pierced him in the heart. The crew was sadly unable to save him, and he bled to death.
Today the world has lost a great wildlife icon, a passionate conservationist, and one of the proudest dads on the planet.
Any footage recorded of his death was never shown publicly and likely destroyed, which is for the best, as witnessing the very final moments of a beloved icon is just too much for anyone to bear.
And he just sort of calmly looked up at me and said, "I'm dying." And that was the last thing he said.
2007, Chris Benoit family murder. The WWE nation was shaken to its core when it was announced that veteran wrestler Chris Benoit had died alongside his wife and son.
That's when Vince McMahon stands up in the ring and says, "We've just got word that Chris Benoit, Nancy, and Daniel have all passed away."
The WWE canceled that night's Raw show and aired a 3-hour memorial to honor Benoit. But that very same night, police uncovered a much darker side to the mysterious death. They revealed that Benoit had murdered his family before taking his own life.
Nobody expects their friend to kill their family? Like, what?
There's no way the WWE could have known the grim details, and the memorial was meant to be a touching gesture, but they were so humiliated by the revelation that they pulled the tribute from the air and scrubbed any involvement with Benoit clean from their records.
What Chris did almost destroyed the only thing that he ever loved, from a professional standpoint.
2008, the on-camera drowning. During a broadcast for TV Miyazaki, Japanese TV personality Tetsushi Yanagita took part in a fun sumo match. Suddenly, he dove headfirst into the mud and lay there motionless. Everyone thought it was part of the act, so they laughed and cheered at his expense. It turns out that he had broken his neck and nearly drowned on live television. Thankfully, they quickly responded when they realized something wasn't right, and although Yanagita did survive the ordeal, he was rendered paralyzed from the neck down. Incidents like this emphasize the risks of letting untrained people compete in physical games, made worse when the incident is recorded on tape. 2009, game show contestant turned murderer. Megan Wants a Millionaire was a short-lived dating show hosted by reality TV star and model Megan Hauserman. The series finished production, but only a small handful of episodes aired before VH1 put the show on an indefinite hiatus. The reason for the show's cancellation traces back to one of its contestants, Ryan Jenkins.
I figure, hey, if there's any time for a Baywatch dive, it's now.
It was revealed that after his elimination, Jenkins reportedly strangled his wife, Jasmine Fior. It was also later revealed that he had a history of assaulting other models. Before he could be detained, he took his own life in a hotel room.
The manhunt for reality show contestant Ryan Jenkins ended yesterday when he was found dead in a Canadian motel.
If any good came out of all this, is that it stressed the importance of thorough background checks with reality show contestants.
I put a lot of blame on myself for it for a long time because I knew him as a different person.
2010, Blue Ranger revelations.
You escaped! But you won't, Madam Woe.
Power Rangers fans were saddened by the sudden departure of Billy, the original Blue Ranger, during Zeo. At the time, the reason for his leaving involved pay disputes with the actor that portrayed him, David Yost.
Billy, you did it!
But I didn't, Alpha. I didn't do anything.
However, in 2010, David Yost came forward with his side of the story, and it was absolutely heartbreaking. He stated that he was harassed and degraded by the crew for his sexuality before he finally walked off set one day. He struggled to accept himself for many years afterward. Thankfully, he had garnered much support over the years and returned to the show in 2023 to celebrate the franchise's 30th anniversary, and we were over the moon to see him in blue again.
You're a good kid. We're all looking out for you.
2011, Unlucky Horses. HBO's short-lived series Luck boasted some favorable reviews thanks to its talented cast and writers creating an immersive experience in the world of horse racing.
Guess I still know a peach when I see one.
A second season was originally greenlit, but this would not come to pass. It turns out things weren't so lucky behind the scenes, as 3 horses had died during production. The third death resulted in an investigation that halted the show's production indefinitely.
Good.
HBO announced the show's cancellation the following day, concluding that even though the deaths were not caused purposefully, there were no guarantees that future ones wouldn't occur. PETA had a field day tearing the show apart and ended up in a back and forth with the series' lead actor, Dustin Hoffman.
You don't know your own depth.
2012, Jimmy Savile exposed.
He senses an evil presence.
He senses an evil presence?
Yes.
Who could that be?
The world was saddened by the death of British media personality Jimmy Savile. He was renowned for his eccentric and charitable personality and was even knighted by the Queen. However, 1 year after his death, a new horrific side of Savile was uncovered.
You used to be a wrestler, didn't you? Is that right?
I still am.
Oh, yeah.
I'm feared in every girls' school in this country.
It turns out the generous man we thought we knew had been engaging in decades of sexual abuse with countless victims, many of whom were minors. What's more frightening is how Savile's crimes went under the radar throughout his whole life. Only after his passing could the truth finally be known, and his victims could find some semblance of peace.
May God forgive me, but I hope he's in hell.
2013, the Glee curse begins.
It's my life, it's now or never.
While Glee was among the most popular shows of the 2010s, many behind-the-scenes tragedies have led fans to call the series cursed. Many believe the curse started in 2013, when the world lost Corey Monteith.
I loved Finn, and he loved me, and he loved all of you guys.
Fans loved his performance as Finn Hudson and the personal growth he made throughout the first 4 seasons. Sadly, behind the cameras, Corey was struggling with substance use disorder, and no amount of treatment seemed to help. Even more tragically, he passed away from an overdose in 2013, resulting in Finn being killed off screen. One could only imagine how difficult it was to film after his passing.
Seasons of love.
2014, the hypocrisy of Stephen Collins. From 1996, Stephen Collins was widely recognized as Eric Camden, the compassionate, ethical father in the WB's longest-lasting series, Seventh Heaven.
Right now, I think we should stay focused on the problem at hand.
However, in 2014, he gained recognition as a hypocrite and a deviant. Police investigated an allegation that Collins had engaged in inappropriate sexual misconduct with 3 minors years before Seventh Heaven first aired. He tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming, and his career came to a screeching halt overnight.
I admit to, apologize for, and take responsibility for what I did.
We will say this was a testament to Collins' acting abilities, able to portray himself as a loving father figure and conceal his darker, deceitful side beneath the surface.
And I would say, with all my heart, I am sorry.
2015, Red Wild Force Murderer. Lately, it seems like Power Rangers is just another cursed franchise.
The animals. I hear them.
Those who don't die either live with trauma or end up on the wrong side of the law. In 2015, Ricardo Medina Jr., best known for Cole in Wild Force and Decker in Samurai, was arrested for manslaughter charges. According to reports, he fatally stabbed his roommate Joshua Sutter with a medieval-styled sword. Medina claimed it was in self-defense.
It's not impressive. It's pathetic. You're nothing but a coward.
Meanwhile, the victim's sister mentioned Ricardo's antisocial behavior that resulted in Sutter trying to peacefully evict him, only to meet his tragic end at Medina's hands. Either way, it's impossible to rewatch Wild Force and Samurai without being reminded of the actor's crimes.
Medina's attorney saying 6 years in prison on the lesser charge is a far cry from what he would have faced if he had endured a lengthy murder trial and possibly been convicted.
2016, Thomas Gibson kicked to the curb. For the first 11 seasons of Criminal Minds, Thomas Gibson's performance as Aaron Hoschner was a cornerstone for the show that kept us invested.
So time's of the essence. He's moving fast. We need to move faster.
However, everything changed when Gibson was directing an episode, and a heated debate sparked between him and producer Virgil Williams. He allegedly kicked Williams in the shin, so the network decided to kick back and boot Gibson off the show entirely.
It's not a request.
With him gone, Hoschner was written off the show with the excuse that he had gone into the witness protection program and then resigned to become a full-time father. Even though they managed to cover their tracks, it doesn't feel the same without Hoschner after learning what really happened.
He just sent in his resignation. I know this is a lot to process.
2017, hashtag MeToo fallout. 2017 was a brutal year for the entertainment industry. The hashtag MeToo movement brought to light several stories of misconduct behind the scenes, not just with films, but with television as well. Dozens of TV personalities were shown the door following the allegations. Among the names were Charlie Rose and Matt Lauer.
As I'm sure you can imagine, we are devastated and we are still processing all of this.
Lauer was let go from NBC after receiving complaints of inappropriate behavior from a colleague. Rose was terminated from PBS, Bloomberg, and CBS following reports of at least 2 decades of misconduct.
So this was a secret that was wide open, and I would be surprised if the people at CBS didn't know.
Rose did not go quietly, claiming that women were exploiting the campaign. Whether or not the allegations were true, the hashtag MeToo movement changed the game in Hollywood and served as a warning to all offenders.
There are no words to express my sorrow and regret for the pain I have caused others by words and actions.
2018, Dan Schneider fired. Since 1993, Dan Schneider had been Nickelodeon's golden goose, with live-action sitcoms for kids, bringing hits to the network such as All That, Drake and Josh, iCarly, and Victorious.
By the late 2000s, Dan had more control than pretty much any showrunner at Nickelodeon.
However, in the wake of the hashtag MeToo movement, several allegations about Dan came bubbling to the surface, such as verbally and sexually mistreating his staff and underage actors, and overall creating a toxic work environment for everyone involved.
For one thing, I am always trying to outdo the last thing that I did.
In 2018, Nickelodeon finally announced that it would be cutting ties with Dan Schneider, but even after they showed him the door, the gruesome details of the environment he created kept on coming, eventually culminating in the 2024 documentary series, Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV.
I could be cocky and definitely overambitious, and sometimes just straight up rude and obnoxious, and I am so sorry that I ever was.
2019, The Hate Crime Hoax. Well known for portraying Jamal Lyon on Empire, actor Jussie Smollett came forward with some troubling allegations in 2019. He claimed that he had been assaulted by 2 men shouting hateful slurs at him.
And a dozen detectives are pursuing new leads, including grainy photos of 2 persons of interest.
When police looked into the alleged hate crime, however, something didn't seem right. Their investigation revealed evidence that the 2 assaulters were colleagues of Smollett, who worked alongside him on Empire, and that Smollett had paid the duo $35,000 to stage a fake attack.
How can you doubt that? Like, how do you not believe that? It's the truth.
It was reported that Smollett staged this hoax as a publicity stunt to boost his career. Instead, it cost him his role in Empire, as Jamal was written out of the show in the wake of the incident.
I'm okay with accepting responsibility for things that I've actually done. I'm just not okay with accepting responsibility for something that I did not do.
2020, Ellen Unmasked. For years, Ellen DeGeneres maintained a positive image of being funny, relatable, and one of the nicest comedians around. Her being labeled a gay icon made her all the more relatable. There were a few rumors and supposed clashes between her and other celebrities, but nothing too damning until 2020.
Ellen is now facing a major PR problem following a BuzzFeed article that portrays the Queen of Nice as the Queen of Mean.
An investigation revealed alleged evidence of a toxic workplace on her show, from racism to sexual misconduct to replacing her own crew with non-union members during the pandemic. Overall, the investigation revealed a less than perfect side to Ellen, leading to the show's cancellation in 2022 and her eventual retirement in 2024.
Thank you so much for being on this journey with me.
Maybe try not to go the YouTube apology route next time, Ellen.
The truth is, I am that person that you see on TV. I am also a lot of other things.
2021, Josh Duggar arrested. The reality show 19 Kids and Counting focused on the lives of the Duggar family and showcased their devout, pure-hearted lifestyle.
You've got something so amazing
in something so tragic.
However, things weren't as squeaky clean as they seemed, as the eldest son, Josh, was accused of explicitly taking advantage of several underage girls, a few of whom were his own sisters. The show was canceled in 2015, but it wasn't until 2021 that karma finally caught up to Josh. He was arrested for possession of explicit material featuring minors and would spend over a decade in jail.
A sentencing date has not yet been set, but we do know that he could face up to 20 years.
Reality TV brings out the worst in people already, but it's even worse when they hide behind a perfect mask when the cameras turn on.
And I think it's just a sample of what life is like sometimes.
2022, Farewell Green Ranger. Ever since his debut in 1993, Jason David Frank was the poster child for Power Rangers, portraying the most iconic character of all, Tommy Oliver. His loyalty to the fans and the series was unquestioned. However, in 2022, tragedy struck the fandom as JDF was found dead in his hotel, having taken his own life. Reports stated that he had been struggling with his mental health for some time now. Unfortunately, it all took its toll.
Frank is survived by his 4 children. He was 49 years old.
It's gut-wrenching to hear that a childhood hero is no longer with us, but it's mortifying to know how much they were suffering internally after everything they did for their fans.
We'll always be with you.
Thank you.
2023, Rick and Morty fired. For the first 6 seasons, Justin Roiland had been instrumental in the success of Rick and Morty as the show's co-creator and the voice for both titular characters.
Help me, Rick! Oh, Morty. Oh, Morty. Help me, Morty.
However, in 2023, some very troubling revelations about Roiland came to light, such as his 2020 arrest for domestic battery and false imprisonment of his date. Following this, several allegations involving sexual harassment and predatory behavior were made public. While the court dismissed the charges for lack of evidence, Adult Swim didn't hesitate to fire Roiland from the show. With his departure, actors Ian Cardoni and Harry Belden took over voicing Rick and Morty respectively, starting in season 7.
Mr. President.
I got an emergency, Rick.
Another president mission? You just killed the Loch Ness Monster for him.
2024, Brian Peck the Monster. In March 2024, the Quiet on Set, The Dark Side of Kids TV documentary revealed several hardships that former child stars on Nickelodeon endured. Among the many revelations was the involvement of former dialogue coach and sex offender, Brian Peck.
I'm not just Pickle Boy, but I'm also a trained professional who works here on the set of All That. You can tell by my very important looking headset.
Shane Lyons from All That alleged that Peck made explicit jokes with him, while Lyons was in his early teen years. Peck was arrested in 2003 for sexually abusing a minor, but the victim remained unknown for over 2 decades. During the documentary, our jaws dropped and our eyes watered when the victim finally came forward, revealing himself to be Drake Bell.
His entire side of the courtroom was full.
Suddenly, Peck being friends with the infamous John Wayne Gacy makes all too much sense.
He kept, like, this pile of letters and photos from John Wayne Gacy.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
2025, Stephen Colbert silenced. Ever since he took over the series in 2015, Stephen Colbert has been keeping audiences laughing and well-informed on The Late Show. However, in July 2025, Paramount and CBS announced that The Late Show would be canceled in May of 2026.
It's not just the end of our show, but it's the end of The Late Show on CBS. I'm not being replaced. This is all just going away.
This drew the ire of Stephen's supporters, who accused the network of taking a bribe from Donald Trump for silencing Colbert's many criticisms. It didn't help that Disney and ABC would later announce that Jimmy Kimmel Live was on suspension following political pressure.
And the truth is, I don't think what I have to say is going to make much of a difference. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't.
While fan backlash would save Kimmel from cancellation, Colbert was not as lucky. But the time he had left on the show, he promised that the gloves were coming off with his reporting.
And now for the next 10 months, the gloves are off. I can finally... I can finally speak unvarnished truth to power and say what I really think about Donald Trump.
Think we missed a dreadful moment in 21st century television? Let us know in the comments.